হ্যালো স্টুডেন্ট, এবার আমি যা নেক্সট চ্যাপ্টার শুরু করছি, প্রিপ্রসেসর। দিস ইজ এ স্মল চ্যাপ্টার বাট কোয়াইট ইম্পর্টেন্ট চ্যাপ্টার। সো let us know what is preprocessor. It is a software which processes the source code before it passes to the compiler. All you know that when I write or we write any kind of C program, it will pass some steps for execution. First, I write the code and save it as .c, and this will be my source code. After that, this code will be for checking. That means compiling. After compilation, if the source code is okay, there is no error free, then it will be converted to the exe file and go to the execution step, and it will be executed and give the result. So these are the process. So it is a software. The preprocessor means it is a small software which process the source code. That means source code means the code what I write in C or instructions or program code, what I write in C, and you may write it in notepad also, okay, and save the code with a name and .c extension. Extension means file extension, means the type of file. .c extension, okay. So this will be your source code. Source code means .c file, whatever we write and store it in turbo C ++ bin directory, okay. This source code file will be processed before it passes to the compiler. So what will be the process? I will discuss it now. The process, compilation means error checking. Before going to error checking, there is a small step that is called preprocessor software processing step. That is the step which is processed by preprocessor. Before passing to compilation, there is a small step which is controlled by preprocessor. What are the steps? Preprocessor will do some operations. Those operations will be performed by preprocessor directive. What are the operations? First of all, what is preprocessor directive? Preprocessor directive, it is also a program which controls and operates the preprocessor. Preprocessor is a software, and preprocessor directive is another program which controls the software, which controls the preprocessor software and operate the software. That means preprocessor directive always control and operate the preprocessor software. Directive means some code or some symbol, okay, which will control the preprocessor software. What is the example of preprocessor directive? That means, first of all, preprocessor directive is a program, C program is a program, any kind of program, maybe C code program, which controls and operate the preprocessor. Preprocessor means it is also a software. That means this preprocessor directive program always control or operate the preprocessor software. What are the directive? Example, already you know that hash include, hash define, etc. Okay, the main preprocessor directives are discussed here. The main, generally, what are those generally which are used frequently in our program, I will discuss it here. These are very small things but quite important. Hash include is also preprocessor directive, means program. Hash defined, etc. Hash include, you know what is the purpose of hash include. It includes header file to our program. Hash defined means it defines a name and replace it with another value or another text. That is hash defined. So these are preprocessor directive. So function of preprocessor. That means what are the function of preprocessor? There are two parts. One is preprocessor and another is preprocessor directive. Preprocessor is a software which processes the source code before checking the code. That means error checking will be done by compiler. Before error checking, this preprocessor will do some operations for the source code. And what? With the help of the preprocessor directive. So preprocessor directive are main directives are what? Hash include, hash define, etc. Then function of preprocessor. What is the purpose? Why we use the software? What are the functions or what are the steps which are performed by the preprocessor before the compilation? What are the steps? First, function. What are the function actually? It performs textual substitutions on your source code. Actually, the preprocessor directive performs some small but very important steps or tasks or operations before compilation. What is the main operation? Textual substitution. Textual substitution in your source file. In my source code, আমার source code কিছু টেক্সচুয়াল সাবস্টিটিউশন মানে কি একটা টেক্সট আরেকটা টেক্সটকে রিপ্লেস করবে। সাপোজ AA will replace BB. This is a text, this is a name, this is a text, or maybe text, maybe value, suppose 2, or maybe any string. Okay, so this name or this text will replace this text. This is called, that means AA means this. In which any part of your program where you find AA, that means AA will substitute this text, that means maybe BB or any value. Okay, so this is called textual substitution. যেখানে যেখানে প্রোগ্রামে AA দেখতে পাবে, AA means BB, or AA means 2, or AA means SS. তাহলে it will be replaced by this. That is called textual substitution. In any part of your program, wherever you are seeing this, any part of your program, when you find AA, then internally by the compiler, AA will be replaced by BB or 2 or any other values. So this is called textual substitution. So main function of the preprocessor software is to perform the textual substitution on my source code, and this is done by 3 ways. This is done in the 3 ways. 3 ভাবে এই সাবস্টিটিউশনটা টেক্সচুয়াল, এই যে এটাকে রিপ্লেস করবে, এটা 3 ভাবে করা যায়, by the 3 ways. First way is file inclusion. File inclusion means we can include or we can attach another pre-written file with my C program, whatever I am writing. তার মানে আমার C প্রোগ্রামের সঙ্গে এক্সটার্নাল একটা ফাইল আমি অ্যাটাচ করব। এক্সটার্নাল ফাইল মিন্স যে ফাইলটা আগে থেকে তৈরি করা আছে, প্রি রিটেন, ওই ফাইলগুলো কি কি জেনারেলি, ওই যে বললাম হেডার ফাইলস, যেখানে ইনবিল্ট ফাংশনসগুলো স্টোর করা থাকে, লিস্টেড থাকে, অ্যান্ড দেয়ার ফাংশনস অলসো আর ডিক্লেয়ার্ড উইদিন দ্য হেডার ফাইল। Inbuilt functions and their tasks or operations are defined in the header files. All kinds of header files are included with my C program depending on my requirement. Header file is a external file which is pre-written by the C compiler, language founder. So these are the header files. Whenever I include the header file with my C code or C program using #include, all you know. That is called file inclusion. That means any other file I can include or I can attach with my C program by using #include. This is one kind of textual substitution. First kind of file inclusion. That means especially actually we link the header file or we attach the header files for getting inbuilt functions and their definitions from that header files. So what is the purpose? #include always include or attach header files to our program. Okay. Next, macro substitution. Macro substitution. It replaces instances of one part of text with another by #define. মানে #define মানে ওই যে বললাম একটা টেক্সট, it replaces instances of one part of text, মানে এই যে বললাম a replaced by bb or a replaced by 2, আমি আগেই ডিফাইন করে দেব যে a যেখানে যেখানে পাবে তার সাবস্টিটিউটটা ধরে নেবে 2, a মানেই 2, ওটাকে a যেখানে পাবে 2 দিয়ে রিপ্লেস করে দেবে, বা bb দিয়ে যা দিয়ে রিপ্লেস করতে হবে সেটা আমি এখানে লিখে দেব এর পাশে। ধরো আমি যেখানে a দেখতে পাবো ক্যাপিটাল A, তার মানে এটা হবে 2, a মানেই 2, যেখানে যেখানে প্রোগ্রামে আমি in my whole program where I will find a, capital A, that will mean that 2, a means 2, in that place always 2 will be replaced. When I will find the capital A or small a, when I will find the small a equal to small a, that means in the place of small a 2 will be written. That means 2 will substitute a. That is called textual substitution. That means macro substitution. Macro means you will define, and that is done by #defined. So example is #defined pi 3.4. Suppose pi is my name, instance বা name, এটা একটা ভ্যালু দিয়ে রিপ্লেস হবে, অথবা টেক্সট, দিস ইজ কল্ড টেক্সট, pi is a text or name of the macro and the value of the pi is fixed throughout the program, that is 3.4. That means in my program, C program, when I will find pi like this, it will be then replaced and written as 3.4. Always when I will find any part of my program pi, then it will be replaced with, it will be written instead of pi 3.4, it will be replaced by 3.4. Whenever I will find pi, that means 3.4. Okay, pi is fixed for 3.4. So this is the syntax #defined pi. That means I am defining, the meaning of this line is I am defining or I am declaring pi as 3.4 throughout my program. pi means 3.4. I am defining that by hash defined. That is called macro substitution. You may do anything. You may like hash define. Suppose Kolkata means 10. তার মানে টোটাল প্রোগ্রামে তুমি যেখানে যেখানে কলকাতা দেখতে পাবে তার মানে সেই জায়গায় 10 বসিয়ে দেবে কম্পিউটার। কলকাতা will be replaced by 10. So like this, you can replace one text by another value or another text. That is called macro substitution. This is called name, this is called text. Like this, has defined size 10. You are defining an array, suppose size 10. That means char a size. If I write like this, then what is the meaning of this? Char a size. That means size will be replaced by 10 because I have already defined size 10. That means where in my program where size will be found, it will be replaced by 10. That means a size means a 10. Size means tens. Size means 10. That means a is a array which contains 10 contiguous cells. That is called array. That means size means always 10. In my program, size always be replaced with 10. When I will find size, that means that will be replaced with 10. Another is has defined, suppose a2. That means in my program where I will find a, it will be replaced by 2. So these kind of things are done by macro substitution using the hash defined. That means macro substitution is done by hash defined. File inclusion is done by hash include. Okay. Another one is conditional computation. That means depending on some various condition or various situation, certain part of your source code are seen or not seen by the compiler at all. That means conditional substitution means that it is a situation where some part of your source code will be compiled or some part of your source code will not compile. Okay, what part of your program will be compiled first, it will depend on some condition. That is called conditional compilation. That means depending on condition, your part of your source code will be compiled or part of your source code will not be compiled. It depends on your condition. If condition satisfied, then certain part of your code will be compiled instantly, or which if the condition is not satisfied, then other part of your code will compile, not all the part. Okay, so that means conditional compilation. That means if condition satisfied, one part of your part of your source code will compile, otherwise not. So this situation is controlled by conditional computation. Example, hash if def. That means conditional compilation is done always by hash if def. Hash if def. Conditional compilation computation is done by hash if def. Like this, hash if def name, I will give a name, then program name or condition, program text. Okay, hash else more program text, hash end if def name program code program text hash else more program text hash end if. That means if def means with the help of if def I am defining a name like condition. If it is defined, then this part of your code will be compiled, not this part of code. If this name is defined, then this part of code will be executed. If this name is not defined, then this part of code will be executed. Either this or that, not both the part. If name is defined, then this part will be compiled, not executed, compiled. Else, if this is not defined, then this part will be compiled, not this part. Only one part will be compiled at a time, either this or that. This is done by if def, else and end if. তাহলে আমি if def দিয়ে else দিয়ে end if দিয়ে if এখানে শুরু হলো if def শুরু হলো end if শেষ হলো। else মানে যদি এটা কন্ডিশন এটা যদি ঠিক হয়, যদি সত্যি সত্যি এটা ডিফাইন হয়, তবে এটা হবে কম্পাইল হবে, এই পার্টটা, এটা একটা পার্ট সোর্স কোডের, এটা কম্পাইল হবে। আর যদি এটা ডিফাইন না হয় মানে এলস যদি না হয়, তাহলে এই পার্টটা কম্পাইল হবে, তারপরে এন্ড হয়ে যাবে ইফটা। তাহলে যে কোনো একটা পার্ট কম্পাইল হবে, নট ফুল সোর্স কোড। পার্ট অফ সোর্স কোড will be compiled depending on condition, or that is called conditional computation. If a macro by name, here it is a macro name means macro name. If a macro is defined, then this part will be compiled. Otherwise, else means otherwise. If not defined, then this part will be compiled, end if. If a macro by name is defined, then program text part will be compiled. If macro not defined, then more program text will be compiled. That means conditional computation always perform compilation not for full code, code, part of your code. Compilation, it will help to compile part of your code, not full code, depending on some condition. So there are three ways of function of preprocessor. One is file inclusion with the help of hash include. Second is macro substitution. That means replacing one text with another value or text, and it is done by hash define. That means macro definition. That is called macro. Whatever I am defining, pi is a macro. This is your macro value. Size is a macro. 10 is a macro value. A is a macro. 2 is a macro value. That means this is called macro. Okay. Next way is conditional computation. That means compiling some portion of your code, not full portion. What portion of your code will be compiled? It will be decided by macro name. If a macro is defined, then this part of immediate following part of the macro name will be executed. Else, otherwise, if not macro is defined, if macro is not defined, then this part of this just below of your else part will be compiled, end if. That is called, these are the three ways how I can how preprocessor perform function. Okay, so this is the preprocessor. Okay, so and this is my last chapter of my C language. So you have learned, or you have go through actually 14 chapters in C language, and this is the last chapter of your C language. So last chapter is preprocessor. So in gist I am telling, preprocessor is a software and preprocessor directive is another program which controls that software. And what are the preprocessor directives? Hash include, hash define, if def, hash if def, etc. etc. What are the functions of directive preprocessor? What are the function of actually preprocessor? What it do? What is the function of preprocessor? What it does? Actually, it performs textual substitutions by 3 ways. What are the 3 ways? File inclusion, macro substitution, and conditional computation. File inclusion means attaching a header file to my program code for getting inbuilt functions and their definitions. Next is macro substitution, that is I am defining with the help of a hash defined, I am defining a macro like pi and giving a substitute value of that macro. Whenever it will find pi, it will be replaced by 3.4. That is fixed for throughout the program. So this is called macro substitution. I will define a macro and I will also define a value against that macro, which will be replaced by the value. Always macro will be replaced by the value. Always this will be replaced by that. That will not be replaced by this. Always right side value will be replaced by left side value. Not left side value will be replaced by right side value. Always right side value will be replaced by macro, that is left side value, or name. Macro means a name. Okay. And conditional computation always performed by hash if def, hash else, and hash end if. These are 3 sets: hash if def, hash else, and hash end if. These are the all 3 ways how a preprocessor do its task. Okay, preprocessor functions are always done in 3 ways. Okay, so this is all from preprocessor, and this is the last chapter of your C language.